Thank you, Andre, for that introduction. Finally, for our last coach for the call, Ms. Carol Moehrle. She's the District Director for Public Health in Idaho North Central District.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to have these introductions that we heard earlier. What a group that we have on the call today. I am a local health official in North Central Idaho. Idaho has a unique structure. We are a regional-based health system, public health system. So we have 44 counties in our state, and we're divided into 7 health districts. So it brings a unique way of looking at public health in our regional approach across the country. So that's any of you in a similar situation, that would be something that we could have a good commonality with. I have been in my role as a local health official for 22 years in North Central Idaho. I've also had the opportunity to work with the Board of Health. We have policy-making boards in Idaho that are made up primarily designated by our county commissioners. So for 22 years being with the opportunity to be hired and fired by those local boards of health is always an interest and a challenge, as you may well know. They are policy making, which puts a little bit different spin on how we do business. I know some boards of health out there are just advisory instead of policy. But I think one of my strengths is definitely working on board development issues, navigating that board director relationship to, keep everyone moving forward when sometimes they'd like to flag back a local role. We're working through strategic planning issues. Our board has always had its own strategic plan, more detailed than our bigger health district strategic plan. Board self-evaluations, making sure that they understand the most important job they have is to evaluate the director, to make sure that that director is the right person at the right time in that chair. So I've been the opportunities to work with my board in a lot of detail. I've done quite a lot of national work. If you have done any of that, you'll know how valuable that brings to your career. And just stepping out of that local box into a different realm. I sit on the board of NACO, which is the National Association of Counties, and again, working with our county commissioners, because we have a county structure, those elected, and the opportunity to have them bring their knowledge and expertise to our role in public health, since they are the policymakers. So let's work towards that health and all policy initiatives. Now, not that we've done it perfect or are moving very quickly, but at least it has them at the right table. We have the health district system again. I have, like Joan had said, we've all gone through those reorganizations, made those tough decisions, done layoffs. It's not new. It takes a calm, collected, dedicated marching to make those things happen. But we've all been there, so I think that's another strength that I could help any of that are looking at some of those opportunities or challenges for certain. One of the things I think is most critical in the jobs that we do is to utilize our partners. And our partners oftentimes being our elected officials, but our resources in our communities. We are in Idaho, like all of us, marching ahead with the community health assessments with our hospitals, moving ahead with community health improvement plans and strategic plans. So that is nothing new. Those are things we need and should be doing, and are moving ahead diligently with those efforts as well. When I look at coaching, the camaraderie I think it brings for me as well as whoever might be on a coaching team as well. I'm hoping first that we have some fun. Life is very short and oftentimes so complicated that we forget to take ourselves a step back and not take it too seriously, because it is every single day. I think, a great motivator. I function on that level in my personal as well as my professional life, and I think that helps in that balancing act that we all have to do in this current job. We juggle priorities, we need connections with each other in order that we can bounce the ideas off and work through the current challenges that we have, knowing that it's always easier if you can share and brainstorm, especially when there are no magic bullets. And as we all know in public health, there are no magic bullets. We're dodging them most of the time. So trying to develop a friend as well as a mentor, someone that you can actually feel free to be totally inhibited to share some of those crazy things that you think, oh, my, somebody listen to me and think this is really silly. The other thing that I like to make sure that we have a balance of, there is such great information out there. Joan alluded to a few of the favorites that we all have, I think, as far as our readings and our leadership series. There's a true balance, I do believe, also in research and the theory, using data to move decisions ahead, and then balancing it with real-life experiences. And it really takes that bigger bucket of all of them for us to do our jobs well. So I have, on that other side, my Board of Health has been so supportive over the years. I was in a NACCHO board position for many years and was fortunate enough to be NACCHO president in the past. I've been out of that chair for 2 years now. I think that brings a different perspective when we look at the issues of health policy, whether it's promoting national health policy, state or local, those political connections. We live in a political world, and that's part of the piece of this puzzle that we have to figure out as local health officials. So I'm hoping I can help bring that to the table as well. So I am so excited to meet all of you in San Antonio. This is going to be as much of a learning experience for me, and I just look forward to the opportunity to have us all work on this together.
Great. Thank you so much, Carol, for your introduction, and thank you to each of the coaches. It's definitely exciting to see your past commitment to public health and your desire to invest in the up-and-coming leadership through the Survive and Thrive program. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to be opening up the forum to questions, so everyone will be able to be heard. However, before we do so, I noticed a few other folks joined the call, perhaps during the introductions. So let me open up the forum, and if the newest fellows could introduce themselves as well, that would be wonderful.
This is Mary Gels. I'm with Pacific County Public Health and Human Services in Washington State.
Hillary Hansen. I'm with Riverstone Health, which is the local health department in Yellowstone County, Montana, and I'm the deputy health officer there.
Great to have you on the call again, Hillary. So the way that we'll do the question and answer for the rest of the call, if you are online, feel free to go to the side and type to me a question that you have, and I can ask on your behalf. For those who do not have, who aren't of a computer, if there isn't anybody asking a question at the moment, just feel free to pop in and ask the question. You can ask it to a specific coach or to all three of them. So we're definitely looking forward to this dialogue here. So does anybody have any questions?
Yes, this is Sherry in Waco. And I guess this can go to all three of you. I know that Carol talked about developing boards. So what information would you provide to keep a board member engaged? As I said earlier, we're having a difficult time even getting a quorum together for them to meet. Our board is more of an advisory board, but it is a requirement of our cooperative agreement that we have one. So I'm just trying to figure out ways to get them there and keep them engaged.
Well, this is Carol. Shall I go first?
Yes, go ahead.
Chime in here. Okay. It is a big problem, especially I think when they're advisory more than policy. We've done a few things. You can, sometimes if you've got a member or two that are very passionate and very committed in being there, buddy them up with the ones that are not. have them make a phone call, have them even offer to go by, pick them up, somehow getting them into the room. Once you can sell your story well enough, I think you've got them by the hook once they understand the great work that public health is doing and the passion that we have and that they can bring to the table as well. We also do a little bit of training every board meeting for our board members. So it's almost like they're there doing our, listening to public health, but they're benefiting a little also from being there, taking home a few pearls of wisdom as such for whatever they're doing in their private life. So that has helped keep ours engaged.
Would any of the other coaches like to address the question?
Sure, this is Andre. I'm sorry, after you, John.
Okay, we're all blind, staring at our telephones here. Some of the things that have helped with board members that don't seem to be thoroughly engaged in the past has been to spend time on an individual basis so that I understand what really turns their crank, what are they excited about, and if they seem to not participate in meetings, is it because they're afraid to, or they're uncomfortable, or is it because they're not engaged in the topic? So knowing the difference between those two has been important to me, and then just finding out what lights their fire and seeing if we can get them to take on some responsibility to bring some information about that to the rest of the board members. And that has worked for me to get a couple of otherwise apathetic folks engaged.
Well, in terms of board engagement, one of the first things that I've done when I work in different communities is to find out what the board believes is public health. Because even though it may seem very obvious to us what public health, many people have a very unclear view of public health. And so I've worked with board members who didn't want to deal with public health. They weren't interested in discussing what they viewed as poor people care or care about STDs. There were many moral and societal connections to public health that made people quite uneasy. So my first expectation is to understand what they believe public health should be and help create a relationship with them. The other is for me to recognize that they are public servants as well, and they answer to the public, and they also answer to many different organizations. So I attempt, when I'm having a discussion about public health, to view public health as one part of the larger continuum of caring for a community, because responsibilities and conflicts inherent to caring for people in a community. And the last part of that is to help communicate the message that public health is not just because it's public health, but because public health is vital to a healthy, vibrant community. We have, in a sense, done a very good job in public health of being quiet about what we do. And so, for example, health work is so common now that people don't die when they go buy food at the store or go to restaurants. We do so well with vaccines now that people don't have children that die from curable diseases. And so, in a sense, we haven't carried our message very well. So one of the things that I try to explain is that what we do every day is vital to a healthy and safe community. And I think that my role is to serve as a trusted communicator of that message, to help them understand and appeal to things that are valuable to them, rather than to try to force them to understand why public health itself isn't. Because there's a tendency sometimes to become strident in public health and say it's very important, rather than communicating to people why it's a part of their daily life and they don't even realize it.
Great, thank you for that, for those